Hello, hello. Thanks so much for joining us today. We have a great product showcase planned for you. It's NITRO Service Desk for M365 and Teams. A lot of exciting things to show you. Before we get into it, just a couple of housekeeping items I'd like to go over with you. First of all, we're going to keep this high level today. So if you have specific questions, we're of course very happy to dive in on a one-on-one with you and talk about your specific organization. But we're going to keep things very high level and go through it kind of quickly today. Also, if you do have any questions, don't be shy. Use that question box. We've got the questions enabled here on the right-hand side of GoToWebinar. So please use that box. And we'll be watching for your questions. Also, if you would like to go ahead and schedule a demo after this for some one-on-one time, just let us know. Now, that being said, I'd like to go ahead and jump right into it and introduce you to our VP of Operations, James Restivo, and our Solutions Architect, Ryan Stefani. We've got the dream team with us today to show you the service desk here. And we're Pro Canyon Software. We've been in business for over 25 years now. We're GSA certified. We're a Microsoft preferred business application. We're a California certified small business. We've got all the certifications. But enough about us. Ultimately, what we're here for today is the service desk. So without any further ado, I'd like to go ahead and hand things off over to our fantastic solutions architect, Ryan. Ryan, what do you have for us?
Hello. Okay, let me make myself presenter here. Let me get this screen shared. Okay. Christy, you can see my screen okay?
Sure.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to talk about the help desk for Office 365, Teams, Outlook. I guess it's really just an extension of the 365 environment. So as I make my way through this, I think one of the important things to highlight is the platform in which we're building on, right? I know I've said it once already, but Office 365. So that's the the base, right? So if you look at this help desk, you're going to see, crowcanyon.sharepoint.com/helpdesk, right? This is living in my demo tenant. This application will live in your environment. Now it's built on a tool set called NITRO Studio. Duh, Ryan, Nitro, right? So NITRO Studio is essentially the underlying application layer that we use to architect the help desk. Forms, workflows, reports, right? Those are the big ones. The reason that NITRO exists primarily in this instance is because it allows us to easily architect the application in your environment. So we don't use Power Platform in this application. NITRO usurps that. The main reason is because Power Apps, Power Platform is tied to a specific user, which makes it hard to manage, hard to maintain, hard to admin, hard for us to support you. Everything you're seeing here is list specific, right? Getting into a little bit of SharePoint terminology, but lives in or on the tickets list, the problems list, the change request list, right? So if you have the proper access, you'll be able to go in and update, change, configure to your requirements. It gives you a bit of autonomy, keys to the car, right? In a sense to go in and make the application your own. I'm gonna leave this here for a second. We'll talk about this in just a touch. But that's, a little bit of the housekeeping, right? It's in Office 365, your Office 365, and it's built on a platform that proprietary to us that you're gonna have control over in terms of ongoing maintenance and configuration inside of your help desk. Okay. So it's leveraging that 365 world. Now, help desk specific feature sets, it's going to be pretty common in terms of what you're seeing from a help desk, right? In some ways and different in others. Some ways it's common is obviously creating a ticket from an email. Now this is, I'll toggle back to NITRO here real quick. I will say an ancillary reason NITRO exists is to help plug holes in the 365 world. I already talked about being tied to the Power Apps being tied to a user and why that's difficult. There's also gaps, limitations in the Power Platform and 365 that are difficult to manage, maintain, create applications with. So that's where NITRO comes in. And one of those first ones, one of the big ones in any help desk world, is creating an email from a ticket, right? I want to send it to a distribution email, help desk at, support at. I want to capture who sent it, what they said, title and body, right? Maybe the original email, maybe the attachments, and have a ticket be automatically created. Easy. Secondly, well, I mean, another way I should say to create tickets was this concept of a self-service portal, right? When 365 came around, verging on like 10 years ago now, which is wild. Everyone was all about internet, self-service portal, right? With them, I want an internet, I want a self-help area. And a lot of those principles are still present today in a lot of help desks. The difference is that now, since we're an extension of Office 365, we're offering that in Teams. So the way that tickets can be created and viewed by end users is through an app on the left-hand nav of Teams. I'm in a demo site, I'm using a demo account, so I'm using the online version, the browser version of Teams, but it can also work on your own client, on your mobile device as well. But it gives the end users to come in and submit a ticket, view tickets, right, from a Teams interface. Now, I said I leave the forms thing open. I'd come back and talk about it in just a second. I am going to touch on that now. One of those other limitations in the 365 world, using Office as an application process automation platform, is this idea of how do I separate end users from technicians? It's super hard to build that on your own or on anyone's own, really. One of the most common questions I get doing this for 10 years is like, yeah, but how do I separate people out? I think this is one really understated feature that we don't talk about enough here internally, but something we do really well. And that's creating different forms for the different groups, right? So I have a portal form, an end user facing form, specifically for end users to submit requests through, right? They come in and pre-populates their information because they're in 365. They can submit a ticket. They may not even know this site exists. They just know I go to Teams, click on the new ticket, and I need help. I hit save, add my description, add my attachments. I pick my drop downs, right? And my ticket gets created, right? Again, maybe they don't even know this is tied to the same form as what the agents see on the back end, right? But that really does make it easy for us to delineate who falls into what group and who should be seeing what version of the form. Now, just real quick, because I am on a PC, I will show you what the mobile looks like. So it does scroll down quite nicely on the Teams app, SharePoint app, browser-based. We have a NITRO app as well, so different options from a mobile intake and update perspective. Viewing tickets, pretty straightforward. Who's, where have any notes been left for me? What's going on with the request? You can drill down and see, has the IT staff communicated with you at all, et cetera, et cetera. It's another way to communicate with the backend team. Now we do have this KB Copilot feature set, which gives the end user the ability to really self-serve, right? So what they can do is they can query a backend SharePoint list, knowledge base list, and in these KB articles, they can search things. Well, we can first delineate again between internal or end user, right? We can tag it with metadata. We can add descriptions, we can add content, wiki content, and we can search these various columns, right, metadata, to provide an answer to an end user. And then from an IT perspective, it also gives you the ability to review KB articles. You can create KB articles from tickets. And there's also review dates here as well. So it helps keep the content fresh, which, as we know, makes a whole heck of a lot of sense for the end user. Now, in this case, the way that it's set up is that it's referring them to articles that we've created in the help desk site, but it's also giving them the ability to search generically for their problem, right? So this is giving me steps to clear browser cache. These are the corresponding KB articles that we have related in the help desk to this query. From an end user's perspective, they can create a ticket. They can mark their issue resolved from here as well. So if you do have those folks that want to go in and search and self-serve, it does provide them an answer. Or they can just go in and submit the form. At the end of the day, it all goes back to the same. It all creates a ticket, right? It all goes back to that same list. Now, from a notification perspective, and again, I'm just gonna touch on NITRO, right? We talked about forms a little bit, the configurability around it, the email sync. We'll spend hours here, right? This is something we cover in more depth on a personal demo, but talking about workflows, just briefly, notifications, right? Notifications, creation of tasks, creation of tickets, right? Kind of the base level workflows. Those are all controllable as well. I mean, notifications are pretty set and straightforward. Ticket creation, ticket assignment, right? Now, when I'm saying notification, I think most folks probably think email, which you're right? So if I open up the Outlook account, the Outlook for this account, you'll see my tickets coming in, right? There you go. Your ticket's been received, right? Whatever. We can change that, whatever you want to say there, but more or less, like, you know, and the content that was captured in the KV Copilot, right? The other option here, we have that email piece. The other option is that you can also post what we call adaptive cards to a chat to the end user, right? So they can get a Teams message directed towards them, just like they would get an email, right? But now it gives you both. And this goes for internal staff too, right? If you want to notify your IT team that, hey, a new ticket's been created or a new ticket's been assigned to you, right? We do have a slew of different options, workflows, air quotes, workflows, to leverage these adaptive cards, right? So what maybe I want to see as a technician, I want to see all the tickets assigned to me, right? Maybe a ticket gets assigned to me and I'm going to lunch and I don't want to go back to my computer to update said ticket, right? So I can see it, I can put a pin in an SLA, which we'll talk about in a sec, and actually update the request through this adaptive card in the Teams chat, right? Oh, I got it, right? I got it. Update in a minute. So it gives you the ability to have a little bit more autonomy, not be so tied to the form, to the backend application, and to work within this Teams app autonomously without the crutch of the backend site. Okay. So we talked about end user ticket creation. We talked about notifications at the various stages of notifications. Assignment on requests, it really varies. I mean, basically, like the easy way to say it is we have a bunch of options for assigning tickets. It can be, I toggle to the admin, right? It can be on type. Hey, this team, this person owns this category. A different person owns this one, right? Maybe remote access is me. Helps if I hit edit and not open, Ryan. There we go. So maybe, maybe remote access is me if it wants to load for me. There we go. Right, make this me. Maybe network is James, right? It gives us the ability to kind of determine who gets assigned what based on when the ticket gets created. You can do that at the subtype level, subcategory level, issue type level. You can also set up an auto assignment. So you can determine who your staff is, base it off staff count, and auto assign the ticket to the next person in line. Free, some options. I will say, even a pretty common one is I just want to look at it and want to assign it to the right person. Triage or, yeah, triage is the right word. And hey, here are the 8 unassigned tickets. And I want this one to go to James, I want this one to go to Ryan, I want this one to go to Craig, right? So we have these other pieces of other ability, how to say this? Another way to invoke a workflow we call custom actions, the NITRO thing. It's a manually invoked workflow, and it gives us the ability to, well, hit a button and run a flow, right? So in this case, I can do multiple at once, which is nice. So let's say this one is me, right? The next one is James. Should I use the right James in here? Do that one. All right, and the last one we'll say is Craig. So you can kind of go through and pick, right? So auto options, auto assignment options, round robin options, assigning tickets based off a triage as well. Now, once they hit the tickets list, there's a few different dashboards in which they're displayed. you have your technician's workspace, which is what I'm looking at right here. My ticket count jumped from 3 to 4. Obviously, we just assigned that to me. We also have a higher level dashboard, a manager's dashboard, if you will, where it gives you a little bit more holistic view in terms of information related to the tickets, to the request, right? Open, unassigned, needs attention, overdue, and then corresponding reports to go with it. Ticket trends, incoming, enclosed by week, by month. I think we have by 6 months, on here. Average time to respond, average time to resolve by the type of request, by the technician, by the category of request, right? And then SLAs. Talk about working the ticket. I have my agent dashboard right here, so we'll come back to this, right? But SLAs. So we have utilities that run, basically, that keep track of the time when these are responded to, when they're updated, right? And then you can see which staff members are breaching, which type of requests are breaching, right? Maybe use this as the ability to create more content, more KBs around certain issue types, right? Like hardware requests, who knows? The way that we configure the SLAs is through the back end. Everything in the system is dependent upon whatever information you want to capture. Makes it super flexible, right? So when we create these policies, whether it be default, hey, if it's, I want to reply in 6 or 4 hours and I want to resolve it in, 3 days, whatever, right? Or we can make it more specific. Hey, if the requester is the boss, right? If the requester is, let's say it's James, he gets a response in 10 minutes, right? Regardless, I don't care, it's 10 minutes, right? Or 15, I'll make it 10. Okay. And let's say it's a network problem. A boss calls in and he can't connect. The category is equal to, it's alphabetical, right? Category is equal to network, right? I want him responded to in 10 minutes and I want this resolved in an hour. Right? So it just gives you the flexibility to make this specific to you. And then all of the corresponding fields populate on the form. And then you can see those reports in the help desk dashboard here. Now, working the ticket, pretty straightforward. This is going to be common across a lot of help desks that you see. Who submitted the ticket, what they said when they submitted the ticket, right? We do have some additional utilities here where you can communicate with them through email exchanges. So this is coming from my inbox. You probably set up from a distribution email, like from help desk or support. So if someone's out or sick, right? I digress. Goes to the requester. What's kind of cool here though is that you can create different templates. So if you're used to, typing emails based off of certain responses or certain ticket types, instead of having to copy and paste it or store a bunch of Outlook signatures, you can create those and send it from the ticket itself. Look at that. I love it when it works in real time. And now it's attached to the ticket. So if I respond, you'll also see that incoming response as well. Tracks both outgoing and incoming emails. Staff tab, who's assigned, due date, fills in from SLAs. Resolution is what's going to go to the end user, right? So if you mark the request as resolved, whatever you throw in those resolution notes is going to fire off that notification for ticket resolution, right? Typically the rich text column that we're filling out here, right? Resolved. There's that resolution. Need A, B, C, X, Y, Z, right? We do have an asset tracking tool. I'm not going to cover today. If you want to see both together, let me know. Give me a shout. And you can see how we can connect assets to the tickets as well. This is filtering by the user, right? So it should be looking at, in this case, me. And in the asset site, I have all these assets assigned to me, right? But if I shift and I say, hey, the requester is Craig, there should be none. Yeah, so you can see it's filtering by the user, right? But again, resolution is what goes to the end user when you close this out. Work log, right? Work log, typical stuff. And then KBs. You can attach KBs to tickets, you can view KBs, etc. Related items is interesting. You saw it already with the email piece. We also have this task system and then two other workflows, two other lists, which we'll talk about in a second. But essentially you can delineate parent ticket to a child task. Hey, this type of ticket comes in, maybe like an onboard request, a new hire, Ryan, and I need these 8 things done. Instead of creating 8 tickets, I want 1 ticket and 8 tasks. Track it like almost like a mini project. It's a possibility. Seen it used in a slew of different ways. If, let's say, email spam, I don't know, let's say I've created 18 how to clear browser cache tickets, which I'm sure I have because I'm in the demo all the time. That's my go-to. I can also merge tickets together, right? Whether it's multiple people submitting requests for the same problem, or it's me submitting the same ticket over and over, you can merge 2 tickets together, right? Now they're combined, you close one, the other closes. You don't have to go through and update them both, right? Kind of makes it easy in that regard. Okay, now I'm gonna go back to related items and I'm gonna talk about another workflow. I'm gonna give a quick recap, right? Request comes in through email, through the portal, through the Teams portal, right? Through the form, through the chat. You get notified, it gets assigned, hits the dashboards, right? Manager's dashboard, agent's dashboard, close the ticket out. Maybe you have some tasks related to it. Maybe you need to send some emails related to it, right? All of that's self-contained in the tickets workflow, right? Now the other 2 pieces here are problem management and change request. Problem management is like a large, in our terminology, is like a larger scale merge ticket workflow. You get 15, 20, 30 tickets in related to, I don't know why we have email address book issue. Let's maybe one a little bit more palpable here. Let's see, like a application being down, CRM not working, right? And everyone writes in about it. You have all these tickets that are coming in related to this particular problem. Really cool. You can go through and you can use another one of those custom actions, right? Wait, oop, wrong screen. Custom actions, manually invoked workflows to link said problem, said tickets to problem. Same as merge, right? Any tickets I select here, these get tied to the problem. Therefore, when the problem gets closed, all the subsequent tickets attached to it also get closed. You don't have to go through and update them one at a time. Super handy, super nice, makes it easy in that regard, cuts down on duplicate work, right? You can link the ticket to the problem through the ticket. You can link tickets to the problem through this utility. You have a little bit of autonomy to do both. You can create a problem as a standalone, or you can take a ticket and you can create a problem from the ticket. That's the nice thing about having this be a 365 tool. It's a lot of options on a back, like a reverse compatibility in that regard. Sure, it's not a huge jump to know where, figure out where I'm going next, right? It's obviously right there. Change requests, change management. We'll call it lightweight change. Okay, so everyone I talk to is always a little different from a help desk perspective. Some people are like, yeah, I don't do change at all. I don't really want to. Others want full change and release management. Again, which is its own demo, its own side conversation. So again, if you are interested in seeing that, assets, change or change and release management, let us know. We'll do a more in-depth demo regarding those. I would consider this lightweight change. An approval process baked into the ticketing system. Could be used for any, I've seen it used in a lot of different ways. One person right now, or one customer to say, is using it for tracking changes that they make to the application or the help desk application, form updates, workflow updates, right? Not change in the typical sense, but configurations made to the help desk. It's really interesting in the way that it's being used. But yeah, I think the lightweight approval process is the best way to think about it. That being said, it still gives you a lot of options and a lot of power in how this can be detailed. So let's say it's a feature ad. You can define your different types of changes, right? Feature change. And then it's basically filling out the form. Hey, who's going to own it? You know, maybe we want to update, you know, our accounts list. Right? Who requested it? Well, me in this case. Okay. Any details, right? Affected components, you know, CRM, accounts list. You know, is there a cost? Maybe just my time, which we'll just call it $1. Risk description, little to none, right? You know, kind of gives you the ability to track this metadata content. Testing requirements, yeah, probably do a 1 to 2 hours of testing, you know, to make sure, etc. Right? Okay. And then a task list. Now what happens is that this is going to run an approval process, and where it pulls from is this back end. And you can define like specific approvers based on your change types, or it can be a little bit more free flowing in terms of it can pull from a column on a form, it can pull from an AD attribute. You can kind of define, maybe they're a manager, right? You can define who these approvers are going to be based off of, you know, the change type selected, or just kind of have like a blanket approval level, right? So now that when it gets created, we've created a change, you know, similar to what we're talking about with problems. You can create a change as a standalone or from a ticket. But now that is linked together, right? So now this change is linked to this ticket. So it gives you the ability to see it from the ticket utility, but also from the change dashboard, right? Feature add, tied to the ticket. There we go, easy peasy. Now the cool thing here, this guy, approval tasks, give you the ability to create multiple approval tasks and associate it to a change request form. I talked about it a little earlier in the sense of we fill gaps in the 365 space. This is awful in 365 sometimes. I hear people try to explain how they do it with Power Apps, and it's kind of like, you know, I got one toe here, I'm holding this part together with duct tape. It's a lot cleaner in NITRO, and it presents very easily. So like I said, it queries that backend list, creates the appropriate approval task. The approver can come in and approve said task, add comments. Yeah, this was approved from an audit log perspective. But what's also cool, talking about permissions earlier, kind of full circle tying this together, is that we can also give them the ability to see their approvals in the Teams app. I want, you know, this, I want Ryan to approve this, but I don't want to give him access to the ticket feature. I don't want him back here. I want him to approve it, right? Okay, this is approved. And I can add comments from here, etc. We've also, like in our purchase request application, we've also had some people configure utilities to approve via email, right? Being able to select a button in the body of an email and approve that way. Yeah, flexibility, right? I mean, a lot of folks, we just want to get them to approve the dang thing. So whichever way spot, you know, whatever way is easiest. But at the end of the day, mark it as approved, and we have those comments and audit log associated to the change request. I did want to keep this at 30 minutes. I'm just going to real quickly hit the report center. I talked about a little bit about the reports for the dashboard already, for the manager's dashboard. The reporting, again, is a part of this NITRO feature set. We have a lot of reports out of the box that come with the tool. Basically, what you're doing is you're creating reports on the content captured in the help desk by type, by person, count by person, etc. If you, at any point in time, you want to configure unique reports, you can. If you want to pull out like hard data as well, we also have this search feature where you can search and create like list views or reports from the search. You know, show me all the tickets by Ryan. I remember how PC sales demo, right? All of them, probably, right? It's my demo site. And then I can print this to PDF and export it to Excel. Gives us the ability to have the graphical interface, but also see this information in PDF or Excel format as well. Hey, James, Ryan submitted 45 tickets in the last month. Can someone talk to him, please? Gives us that ability, right? So the reporting aspect's easy, clean, and there's a few different ways in which we can export the information. And that's it. Well, it's a lot in 30 minutes. But again, that's the ticketing workflow embedded in 365, Teams, Outlook. I talked briefly about NITRO Studio, the asset tracking application, change and release management. If we want to see specific demos for these, reach out to me, ping Krista, ping James. We'll get a time set up for us to walk through and kind of show you how all these connect together. Hopefully this gives you a taste of the power of what we can do on the 365 platform. Hope everyone has a great day, and we'll talk to you all soon.